And now we take a turn to Alaska, which I'm not sure what time it is there. I've heard that, it's like 4 hours from the east. So that means that they're an hour before me, I believe, because I'm on Pacific time.
Hour behind.
I think. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yep.
What time is it where you are, Rhoda?
Okay, let me see. Am I unmuted? I think I am. Can
You are.
hear me? Okay, great.
Yes, I can.
We are an hour behind you, an hour behind Pacific time, and it is still pretty daylight out there. It's 6:39 p.m. Right now the sun is getting dark probably around 9, so it's nice. We're starting to gain daylight because we've had a long, dark, cold, long winter. So this is really nice. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Red, for having me, for inviting me back on here. And it's so fun just to visit with everybody and worship together. And just there's so much power and hope and joy in the unity that's here in the spirit. It's really a blessing.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that is sensing this, because
no, you're not.
I'm like sitting here and like every single song thus far has been, oh, yep, there's the shivers. Yep, there it is.
Amazing music, just beautiful songs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to hear what you have. I have yet to be in the blessing of listening to you sing, my dear. So I am absolutely thrilled. When I found out there was country gospel, I was like, yes, country gospel. When was the last time we heard country gospel? That's amazing.
I never really know what genre it is, but I guess it's kind of more country gospel than anything. Yep.
If you got an acoustic guitar, and you have been, you've been impacted by country music in general, you realize how much of God's goodness has actually been like within country music itself. That there's something so good about country music. That's what I grew up listening to is old country, Randy Travis, and you've got Alan Jackson, and you've got so many good people, Loretta Lynn. My grandpa used to have his guitar out at parties, and he used to just play for hours and hours and hours. And, as a little girl, that's what I looked up to. That's what inspired music for me, was country gospel. So I'm excited to hear what you have, and or whatever you have as a singer-songwriter, because that's what I am too.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited, and this day has been crazy. And when we logged in here, it sounds like this day has been crazy for everyone. So I'm gonna safely assume that this day has been crazy for everyone on here, everyone listening, everyone playing. It's a day, and our days are like that, and they seem to be getting more like that, as time goes by. There's a lot going on the last 2 years. It's just been crazy. There's been a lot going on. So I love what you said about the devil isolating you from the pack. It's so true. And I think he's been able to do that a lot over the last 2 years with people. So I think it's really important and really great that there's something like Red's Room where believers get together and we play music and we worship and we remind each other of what Jesus did for us, and we remind each other of the power that we have through his spirit and the blessings that are really here. And we sharpen each other, and because the battle is all in here, and so it's really good to be among other believers and sharing in music and worship. It's awesome. So this song, I didn't know the day was so crazy. Wasn't really sure what songs I was going to do. I just kind of left it up to the Lord. So I just kind of feel like I'm just going to go with the songs that I feel led of the Lord to play tonight. So this one is called Just For Me. Some people call it One Drop. When the man from Galilee hung upon the cruel tree, he was dying for sinners like me. And as the blood was dripping down from the cross into the ground, there was one drop he shed just for me. Well, just for me and the sins of my soul, just to cleanse me and make me free and whole. As the blood was dripping down from the cross into the ground, there was one drop he shed just for me. When they pierced his precious side, oh, forgive them now, he cried. There was pardon extended to me. And as both blood and water came, glory to his holy name, there was one drop he shed just for me. Well, just for me and the sins of my soul, just to cleanse me and make me free and whole. As the blood was dripping down from the cross into the ground, there was one drop he shed just for me. When with all the saints I stand over in that happy land, and its beauties I'm able to see, and as I look upon his face, I shall thank him for his grace, and that one drop was shed just for me. Well, just for me and the sins of my soul, just to cleanse me and make me free and whole. As the blood was dripping down from the cross into the ground, there was one drop he shed just for me. Well, there was one drop he shed just for me. Amen. One drop, just one drop of that precious blood was enough to save each of us.
When you put it like that, it just makes it, it's just mind blowing.
Yes.
Because like that perfection that each of us have like at one point in our life have just like strove for just completely. That one drop just completely takes all of that away. It completely takes the argument away.
Yeah.
Where are your accusers? Where is the perfection? Where is all of these unmet expectations at? Because I got nothing.
Nothing. We got nothing.
Not a nope.
Not a tata. So let's see here. I thought I had things in order, but apparently not.
We're with Holy Spirit, so it's good.
Yes, this is true. I'm gonna go ahead and do this one. This is a song, and I don't know who listens or who doesn't listen in much, or whatnot, but I love this song. This is actually an old George Jones song, and people either love or hate George Jones, but I loved him. He had a really sad, pathetic life. He struggled with alcoholism, and a lot of times he wouldn't even show up to his shows. And this song is so powerful, and it's talking about the choices that we have to make in life. I heard somebody say once, you are where you are at because of a series of choices that you've made. It's gotten you to where you're at tonight. And it will be a series of choices that will get you right back out of this position, in this place that you're in tonight. So if you're struggling tonight, if you're in a place you never dreamed you would be, don't worry, don't stress. God's big enough. He's bigger than all of that. Don't panic. Just start making those choices that will lead you right back out of that place that you're in. And he'll lead you right out. Just do what you can, and it's one choice after another. And by his grace, by his strength, and he will give you the strength to make those choices and the wisdom to make those choices. So so I'm gonna go ahead and do this song tonight. I've had choices since the day that I was born. There were voices. Actually, you know what? I am not on the right fret here. That's not going to be good. I've had choices since the day that I was born. There were voices. They told me right from wrong. If I had listened, no, I wouldn't be here today, living and dying with the choices I've made. I was tempted, and by an early age I found that I like drinking, and I never turned it down, but there were loved ones, and I turned them all away. Now I'm living and dying with the choices I've made. I've had choices since the day that I was born. There were voices. They told me right from wrong. If I had listened, no, I wouldn't be here today, living and dying with the choices I've made. I guess I'm paying for the things that I have done. If I could go back, well, Lord knows I'd run, but I'm still losing in this game of life I play, losing and dying with the choices I've made. Yeah, I've had choices since the day that I was born. There were voices. They told me right from wrong. If I had listened, no, I wouldn't be here today, living and dying with the choices I've made. If I had listened, no, I wouldn't be here today, living and dying with the choices I've made. And again, the good news is that we can make good choices with God's help. Lead us right out of the troubles that we're in.
Absolutely. And I think that it's even smaller than, like, I think sometimes we overwhelm how much trouble we're actually in, and how simple God's grace gets us untangled from that just by one simple choice, by, by choosing to put, whatever addiction you are in down.
Yeah.
Just one day at a time. One day at a time. Take it one day. Just one day at a time.
You know what?
1 moment at a time. 1 minute, 1 second.
Yeah. I was going to say, my son, he is 22. And my oldest son, he is a beautiful, amazing young guy. He plays fiddle. He plays cello. He's mechanical. He's handsome. He's smart. He's funny. And he fell into substance abuse at a young age. And he made those choices. And now he's in a really, he has been over the last, 5 years. And he'll tell me sometimes, Mom, I never wanted to be here in this place. I didn't want to grow up and be like this or be in this situation. And they do. Folks who are struggling, and it's not just people with substance abuse issues that are struggling with those issues. It's people right now who are struggling emotionally, mentally with everything going on with COVID, being, locked away from society, being kept out of church, being, you got to pay the bills, but now the fuel is high, and you lost your job because of the vaccine, all this stuff. weighing heavy on people's minds. And you're right. Sometimes it really comes down to a mental choices every second. It's like exercise for your brain and your spirit, having to make those choices minute by minute.
It's a complete denial of the flesh is what it is. It's saying, okay, you know, my faith in God is strong enough for just right now.
Yeah.
And that choosing the faith over flesh, not necessarily over fear, even though the fear is there, choosing faith over flesh. And I'm preaching to myself right now. It's like, okay, now we got to lay that down. Otherwise, you're going to be walking right back into the same thing, and it's going to keep getting worse, and it's going to keep getting worse. And my youth pastor said something when I was 17, because I'm 21. He said, the whoopings only get worse as you get older. And as you look at it now, you know, yeah, it does. The bills stack up higher, and you have to make choices because you decided not to save money from that time, or, you know, you decided to go and spend it frivolously shopping or doing something else. And you're like, man, I could have used that money for something so much better right about now. You know? Yep. It's those little itty bitty choices, one day at a time, one moment at a time, and being able to say, you know what, that's where that humility comes in, you know, that Jose and I were talking about. It's where that humility comes in, and saying, you know what, God, I don't want to be in this situation anymore. I need you to take the desire away from me completely and deliver me from that. And to pray on behalf of like other people and intercede for other people for their deliverance from those things is even more, because God wants to do it.
He does. He really
Like,
does. And there's never been a more desperate time where there's like an endless amount of people to pray for right now.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Right when you think your situation's terrible, you know, somebody else is going to be like, yeah, now it's, yeah. And you're like, and another host on here, his name is Joe. He says, right when you think your situation's bad, the best way to get out of it is to pray for somebody else. And you're like, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. But that doesn't mean deny what you're going through. It just means worship the Lord by praying for somebody else, because your faith is strong enough for that person. And then you're walking together through it. It's a unity. Like you were just saying, it is so much bigger. God is so much bigger. It has so much bigger plans. And we got to walk away from the fence in order for God to actually use you, to give you the megaphone and to say, hey, people over on the other side of the fence, come over and join us. And they're like, oh no, we don't really want to join you because you guys are like holy rollers, you know, like that's not the case. It's just grace, and we want everybody to have it and to see it, because I think that's what we want, you know. We want that grace, but we just don't know how to obtain it, thinking that grace is something to be obtained when it's not.
No. And you're right. There's so much freedom. It's so liberating. Worship is so liberating. It's so empowering. It gives you power and strength. There's something special and anointed about being able to worship and thank God in the middle of the fire, in the middle of the prison, in the middle of the struggle. And you find it's the last thing you really want to do. But if you can break through and do that, you start seeing miracles, you know, like Paul and Silas did, and so many people throughout history. So it's important to shift your focus during the struggle. And I'm talking to myself too, to the goodness of God, because it reminds you, and it breathes new hope in you to remember. That's why David said all the time, I will remember the things that God did over and over and over. I will not forget the things that God has done. I will bring them to my remembrance, because it's really a blessing and it gives us strength. So this last song is kind of about that. It's called The Goodness of God. I'm sure other people have heard this before. None of these songs are mine. They're not originals tonight. I just I hadn't had enough time to practice, so I just did some that I know. However, I've never done this song before. I heard it and I loved it, and we're going to try and muscle through it tonight. And it, again, it's talking about the goodness of God. And in spite of everything, God is so good. His goodness is always there. His fingerprints of goodness are all throughout any valley that we're walking through. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never failed me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. Yeah, you have led me through the fire in darkest night. You were close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never failed me. Yeah, all my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yes, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yes, I will sing of the goodness of God. Amen.
So good. So good. That is such a classic.
Yes,
But so was everything else that you did tonight too. I'm so glad that you did that. Brought me back. I was like, I remember this song. I remember this song. He used to do One Drop in the living room.
Oh, really? You know,
My grandpa. Yeah. Yeah.
On the truth about your grandpa. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
My grandpa he had a 12 string. And I mean, every party that we would do, it would be old country music, old hymns, old something. And, you know, sometimes I'll catch my dad too. He'll be singing in the car, and sometimes we'll have like old country radio on too. And my brother, he listens to like the battle hymns of the Republic. Just, you know, he's all for the old country stuff too. So like this is everything and more as to what I grew up on. I feel like yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for having me and allowing me to come worship with you. And I'm excited to hear the music that's coming up. And if I mute my mute button and I close my screen, it's because my kids are coming in and dismantling my house in the background, but I'm going to be listening and I'm really excited. So thank you guys.
Awesome. Well, good luck on the dismantling of the house.
Yeah.
Along with the pigs and everything else today.
It's normal everyday life around here on a farm. It's just crazy.
There you go. That's just the life that God intended.
Yes, it is.
So,
I love it.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, thank you so, so much, Rhoda. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to hearing more from you. Where can we find more of your music and how to stay connected with you?
I'll post a link. I heard Jose say that he would do that. That's a great idea. So I'll just post a link so that it'll be below the live video in Red's room.
Awesome. Sounds great. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Wonderful. Yeah.